So we met when we were very young. We met when I was 15 and Natalie was 14 when we met, and we met in a caravan park while we were on holidays. We didn't live near each other. Natalie lived on the lake out here. I lived in Sydney, and so after writing a few letters to get to each other straight away, after knowing each other for 3 days, we essentially started a long-term relationship for the next 3 years until we were old enough, until Natalie left school. We took turns travelling up and down from Newcastle to Sydney on the train as sort of 15 and 16-year-olds, which is pretty committed to a relationship at that age. But we did it, and we really enjoyed each other's company and had a great time, and wrote to each other all the time and rang each other on a Wednesday night all the time.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday was always a Wednesday night. It was the Wednesday night phone call. And after 3 years, when Natalie had finished school, Natalie went to schoolies, and I went to Southwest Rocks, and Natalie was away on Surfers Paradise and was going to basically come back a week later and meet.
While I was at schoolies, I was 17 at the time, and I was just with a group of friends who were staying at the SeaWorld Resort and going out every night and going to nightclubs, dancing and drinking and all of those sorts of things. And I remember after a couple of nights of being out with my friends, just getting this overwhelming feeling of this feels so empty, and so it just felt like something I just didn't want to be a part of, and I almost felt a bit repulsed by that environment and being in this nightclub. And I just remember my friends were all having a great time, and I decided I just don't want to do this. So I just walked down and I went across the road, and there was this little cafe that was staying open all night because it was schoolies week, I guess. And so I just went in there and sat by myself. And about 10 minutes later, this guy comes in, he goes, "Oh, can I sit down and talk to you?" And I said, "No, that's the whole reason why I just came here. I just want to be left alone." And he said, "Oh no, I'm not like that. And I won't be here long. Can I just talk to you for a little while?" And he just started telling me about God. And Luke and I both hadn't grown up in Christian homes. None of our extended family are Christian. So he just started telling me about this God that he knew, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I've never heard anything like this before. Like, I'd never been inside a church. I didn't know anything about Christianity, really. So yeah, he just told me all about God, and it was probably maybe 1 a.m. or something when he first sat down, and we just talked until the sun came up. And then he said, "Hey, it's Sunday morning, why don't we go to church together?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess." Like that.
It's a weird pickup line, but
I've never been to church. So we went to this church, and it was really, really full. It was a huge church, and there was just all these people singing, and I was just really, I think, just overcome by how many people were passionate about God. And like, I'd never seen people en masse doing something like that and being so sort of convicted. And so when I came back from holidays, I said to Luke, I had this conversation with this person about God, and Luke started telling me about that he'd known someone over that year that had been talking to him about God as well. And I said, I think we should like start going to church and check out what this whole Christianity thing's about. Like, there's something, I think there's something really valuable about going to church and getting to know God. That
Christmas, for about the 12 months leading up to that Christmas, I'd been at TAFE. I was doing my electrical apprenticeship, and I'd become good friends with the two guys. Richard Aegis was one of them, who's someone a lot of people in the church might know. He always had this little thing in his car called the Grommet's Guide to God. I used to read that in the back of the car, and Richard and I would always talk about, he would have conversations about Jesus and about God, and I was mainly involved with music a lot then, and so I was like, man, I'm all taken care of. I'm good. Music's everything I ever need in my life. That's fine. But after about 12 months, in the end, I actually couldn't. My arguments weren't holding up very well, and I just kind of thought the whole thing just makes so much sense. And so, leading into that Christmas, I was feeling really confident and comfortable about giving my life to God. And when Natalie came back from schoolies and we met at Southwest Rocks, the conversation was kind of like, "So what have you been doing?" It was like, "Well, I've actually been reading the Bible." And it's like, "Well, kind of, so have I." And it was so we both came to God at the same time in completely separate, isolated circumstances.
I think that first year was amazing, just what was happening in both of our lives. So I had moved down to Sydney to go to art school, and I was living in East Sydney, and I managed to find this little Bible that had been given to me when I was in high school, and it was tucked in the back of a bookcase. So I got home from schoolies and I was like, I think I've got a Bible, and it was just one of those little tiny, I think Gideon's Bibles or something. So I found it, and so I took that with me to Sydney, and so for that next year I used to catch the bus every morning to art school, and I just couldn't stop reading the Bible. I was like, this is amazing, why have I never heard about this? And Luke had started doing a bit more Bible reading and stuff as well, and we started going to church, and then just discovering there's this whole other world, and something that can just bring something amazing to your life. Quite often I think about the guy that approached me, and you know, that takes a lot of guts, but the fruit of doing that is huge.
It's amazing how one conversation can change the direction of someone's life.